comes to animals, nature is the mother of invention. After the extinction of the dinosaurs, life experimented with some weird and wonderful combinations and produced a variety of terrifying monsters. Nowhere more so than 30 million years ago in the Valley of the Uglies. 65 million years ago, the dinosaurs met their doom. No place on Earth reveals more about what happened next than the White River Badlands that cover much of the Great Plains of North America, from South Dakota into Colorado and Nebraska. Today, the White River Badlands have eroded away to reveal the secrets of a great evolutionary experiment in which a bizarre group of creatures fought and died for domination over the land. The story begins in 1870 with the arrival of General George Armstrong Custer. The Badlands were an area Custer knew well. 6 years before his ill-fated encounter at the Little Bighorn River, he led the 7th Cavalry on an expedition to explore and map western North America, still an unknown frontier. Although a soldier at heart, he took a keen personal interest in the countless fossils of extinct animals that littered the landscape. Eventually, his finds were packed up in rifle chests and shipped to the Peabody Museum at Yale University. Little did Custer realize that those boxes contained relics of a conflict 1,000 times more ferocious than any he would ever witness. The death of the world's most awesome predators, the dinosaurs, had left a vacuum. For the next 40 million years after their extinction, a host of bizarre new killers vied to take their place. Bloodthirsty birds, ravenous reptiles, murderous mammals, slashing saber-toothed cats. Paleontologist Bob Bacher sets the scene for the opening round.
Okay, the dinosaurs are extinct. The top predator role is up for grabs. There are a bunch of contenders. The furry mammals are there, but there are other guys too. They're giant ground birds. Very early in the history of mammals, there evolved huge, half-ton, flightless birds, running, killing. They had bodies like these chaps, cassowaries, but much bigger, up to a half-ton. And their heads were huge, eagle-shaped heads the size of a racehorse, 3 feet long. These weren't terrible lizards, they were terrible turkeys. They could run you down, and they could chew you up.
Called Diatryma, the terror crane, it was 8 feet tall and so lethal it didn't need to fly. But it ruled the roost for only a few million years. Its rival was a reptile called a panzerkroch. All it needed to be the top predator were long legs for running and teeth for cutting meat. But fierce though it was, panzerkrochs were not geographically widespread and also made a quick exit.
Panzerkrochs are splendid, but they are minority predators. Most of the predators in the age of mammals come from a different ancestor. Something that started as a little fur ball, no bigger than a mouse. But inside its jaws were special self-sharpening shears. Worked like scissors, like bolt cutters. And from this little fur ball would come bigger and bigger animals who used their shears for chopping through flesh and chopping through tendon and chopping through bone. These became lions and tigers and bears and a whole wonderful world of flesh eaters.
It took millions of years for the mammals to rise above their competitors. And along the way, they tried out some of the strangest designs ever. The evidence is scattered throughout the White River Badlands. Paleontologist Japhet Boyce has been hooked on the prehistoric battles of the Badlands since his father took him fossil hunting when he was barely knee-high to a terror crane. Today, he knows the area like the back of his hand. Boyce is particularly fascinated by the White River Badlands because they contain some of the best bone beds in the world. Bone beds that contain mammals.
Mammals are very interesting, much more compelling than the dinosaurs because we are mammals. And the more we can learn about mammals, the more we can learn about ourselves.
Recently, a team of 6 recovered the jaws of nearly 1,000 rhinoceroses from a 1 square mile outcrop on a single day. The prolific bone beds of the White River Badlands tell a grim story of how the mammals triumphed over their rivals to become top dogs in the Valley of the Uglies. The Valley of the Uglies was not always silent and desolate. When the dinosaurs lived here, it was a tropical forest. But after they disappeared, the climate became cooler and drier, and the lush vegetation gave way to more open prairie. Onto this stage came a new cast of ugly characters. The first to stalk the Badlands was an experiment in terror. Paleontologists have unearthed a mammal with a snout that bears a striking resemblance to a crocodile's.
This guy could snap this long snout shut with great speed, penetrating, slicing, cracking. This is Hyaenodon horridus. When it snapped its jaws down, it could reduce a plant eater into pulp.
Hyaenodon horridus, one of the most vicious predators of its day.